Once I settled down, I put my glasses on. At some point, I'd started wearing reading glasses at home. When I glanced down at my hands, they looked a little bigger, and even my seat seemed to be the perfect size. So even I could have someone to love. Someone to love, I muttered, as I pressed a hand over my eyes. Once again, I was reminded just how unfamiliar this relationship was to me. I wondered whether I would still be with Senpai, even after we had become old ladies. But it was far too early for that, of course, and I was probably overthinking it. But still, if we were going to break up at some point, then why was I even trying so hard right now? When I thought about that, it felt as though my leg had been caught in a dark hole, so I cut myself off. I had to focus on what I needed to do in the present, not in the distant future. Which is why I opened the book and kept reading. At first, it was light like a caress, but then I kept reading, getting pulled even deeper into it. The novel wasn't about tender love or the refreshing drama of youth, but was instead a gruesome mystery. It had a hard-boiled writing style and a raw attitude towards life. Those who weren't tough died, were betrayed, and got duped somehow. The occasional moments when I felt disgust at that shudder-inducing story were likely a testament to the skill of the author's portrayals. Well, that was unexpected. My comment was more about Senpai's tastes than the book itself. Senpai seemed so sugary and light-hearted that I would never have imagined her connecting to a story like this. I just assumed that she was the kind of person who enjoyed watching protagonists find happiness and yearning for the same thing for herself. But in actuality, she was the type of person to recommend a book like this. It was almost like a surprise attack. I envisioned the way that Yuzuki Senpai's soft hair curled unnaturally at the ends. After pausing for dinner, I finished reading the book by 9 o'clock that night. The afterword consisted of a simple report on the author's current circumstances and some thank yous. There was no picture of the author to be found. Perhaps that had been done purposefully to match the book's formal style. I closed the book, and still with my face turned down, stretched out my stiff back and arms. The light in the room felt almost overstimulating as it soaked my fatigued eyes. I left my chair and simply lay down on the bed. When I rolled onto my back, I could feel my breathing bring my lungs close to my bones all the more intensely. Whenever I inhaled and exhaled, I felt the existence of each and every one of the bones in my rib cage. I recalled the part of the novel that described the knife being driven in down to the bone and realized that I was grimacing. So Senpai liked thrillers. That was surprising. Perhaps falling for me was just another thrill to her. But if Senpai had sought love just for thrills, that would make me nothing more than her plaything. But she wasn't that kind of person, was she? The more I came to know Senpai, the more I doubted her. Or perhaps it was just that the version of Senpai I had envisioned was becoming more dubious. I had learned one thing about her. Maybe that meant I'd come to love her a little more. I wonder if that's how it works, I contemplated, as though I were examining well-formed rocks one at a time in the pitch-black darkness. that there were unexpected parts of her. Yes, I think that was a good thing, as though I were trying to grapple with an exercise. I ended up wanting to chase after an answer, but I wonder whether the real senpai would be revealed to me when I found that answer. Hmm? Then is the senpai I always see a fake? Have I started a relationship with a fake senpai? It gnawed at me somehow. I already knew, of course, that the face people show to the outside world wasn't their true self. I was the same way. Those who let their true thoughts show through were lacking something as human beings. But it was showing our fake faces to each other really love. I didn't know. And of course, this wasn't something I could talk to my grandmother or the rest of my family about. So all I could do was find the answer myself. There was no adult to provide helpful knowledge of various outcomes. Just the current me, a 14-year-old, only able to fumble around in her own way. I think that's what it means to be an adult, though it's quite difficult to do. There were so many things I didn't know that it was listening. It reminded me of a distant day in the past, floating peacefully along the surface of the water.